All right, let's rock and roll.
All right. So, shit, we haven't done a show in a while. I don't even know what number podcast we're at. I have to look it up.
Can we just be on 69 forever?
Number 90.
90?
Yeah. It's crazy. 90 shows. 90 Man. Hours of your fucking listeners.
Yeah. Oh, popping zits, man. Oh my God. I couldn't look at that thing the whole time. I had like a little tiny zit on my nose and I couldn't have continued the show with it. There's just no way. I had to fucking get it.
Well, thanks for popping a zit. The first part of the show. Jesus.
Hey, I'm a consummate professional. Hey, yeah. So I gotta tell you this story that's nothing to do with water sports, but it's really funny.
Okay.
So 2 nights ago, me and my wife went on a date. I get back from the conference or whatever, from Arrival, and we go to see this movie, Smile. Have you seen the trailer for it at all, Smile?
No, but there's 2 movies that I'm not gonna see, and that's one of them.
Yeah, so it was pretty scary. So there's like this scene where she's like listening to this audio. And she's like hearing like a blip or something in the fucking background. And it's just like her and it's like her and the computer screen. And fucking like you're like really kind of like leaning into it too, right? So you're like trying to hear what the hell it's saying and I really am because I'm deaf. And I'm like fucking drinking my soda and then fucking goddamn Exorcist scary face like right up in the fucking thing. Dude, I sprayed the fucking soda all over the fucking front of the people in the row in front of us. I mean, I fucking sprayed it like a comic, like a cartoon, man. And I'm pretty sure that there was no one else got scared. No one screamed to hide me going and spraying soda all over these fucking people. And me and my wife laughed so fucking hard. And like the girl like looks back at me and she's like touching her head to like feel if there's like Diet Coke all over her hair, which there is.
The positives is that there's no sugar in it. So, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be sticky with
you got to look at the positives here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, I thought we were going to have to leave the movies because we were both laughing, like tears pouring out of both of our eyes. I felt like such a fucking idiot, man. I was like, God damn it, man. Like, I'm a 43-year-old grown man with children, and I get jump scared, spit soda out of my mouth at a fucking movie. What are you gonna do? So
that's funny. Well,
I also spit out my soda when I looked at the bill from fucking Las Vegas, man. Can we just not?
Oh, we'll get to that.
It in like Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We don't got to spend so much money. Oh shit, we're recapping our.
Yeah, we
man,
forgot.
It's been
remember,
a minute, bro.
Yeah, remember because you got sick that week we had before in between our conference and Arrival. You got sick, so we couldn't do the recap. So we're gonna do a 2-parter. We're gonna do a recap of our Watersport conference. Then we're going to do a recap of the Arrival conference. We've been traveling a lot. Kevin's been under the weather in between, so we didn't get to do a show. So yeah, it's been like maybe 2 or 3 weeks since we had a show. But anyways, before we get started, we started a GoFundMe to support tour operators and their families in the hardest hit areas of Florida. And I just want to thank everybody that has donated to this. We've already distributed about 70% of the money. And, you know, the people that are getting this money, they have lost everything. You know, they're rebuilding right now. They're rebuilding their lives. They're rebuilding their businesses. They're not working, you know, right now. I mean, other than just the work needed to be done to get their businesses back up and get their houses taken care of. But we, you know, it's not much, you know, so we're distributing between $500 and $1,000 to, you know, certain tour operators and their families. But it is helping. We've been getting a lot of feedback from the families. I mean, you got to think like anything right now can help. So it's a GoFundMe. If you go to our Watersport Facebook group, it's we have links for the GoFundMe. We're about halfway to our goal. Our goal is 20,000. We're about 10. And we just hope whatever you can give. I mean, if you can give $10, $20, if you can't give anything, then just at least share it on your Facebook page or your Instagram or wherever. And let's try to get it to 20,000. There's still a lot of work to do. We want to make sure we can reach out to as many families as possible. And this is going to water sport operators, so captains, tour guides, dock hands, like anybody that's been affected down there. And I think this is going to go down as one of the most costliest hurricanes in the state of Florida. I was reading about it today. So it's bad. And so if you're listening from very far away, just know that your support is appreciated, and let's get all these guys
stop
back
being
up.
cheap fucking pricks, man. Like, come on, dude. Like, I looked at the fucking list of people who donated and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, come on. You know, it's like the water sport gold rush, like in 2021. Like, everybody made $1 million fucking dollars. You know, like these guys don't have 20 grand in the GoFundMe already. Like, it's like, I get it. Like, these are for-profit businesses and everything like that. But, man, you don't know, man. You know, like, it's like I've talked to these guys fucking personally. Nobody's, like, sitting on, like, a ton of money. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the guys got wiped the fuck out. And it's like, these guys aren't taking their money and going on vacations with this shit. They're, like, they're helping their staff. They're, like, because these guys, like, their staff – making $14 an hour, $15 an hour. These guys are out of fucking work like instantly. And then on top of it, the operators that are paying their staff right now, they're paying them to shovel their businesses out from under the fucking ground, man. And if you don't think that this can't happen to you, like, we're going to do an episode on it. I haven't talked to Greg, but it's been like weighing super heavy on my mind. A couple of the operators that I knew in those areas I spoke to directly. It's like there's a lot of stuff during the thing that was like publicly spoken on, but we want to have a good episode on action plans for hurricanes, and not just like, oh yeah, you know, make sure you have sandbags and bullshit like that, but what you need to do from a financial standpoint and what you can do in the interim. And I think a big one that we don't talk about is like runway. How much money do you have in the bank? So I'm not going to get super deep on that right now, but I think that's the best use of my time is I can tell you guys what I think and seeing my experiences in Key West. While luckily I never actually experienced like anything sizable like Ian. I was there through enough small ones and enough hurricane breakdowns, and to see the entire process from a large company with a lot of boats and multiple locations and docks and everything like that, and how they did it. So luckily I've never been through a catastrophic one, but I've done enough prep to know what we get ready for. So yeah, we're going to do something on that. We're going to get you guys educated on.
And it doesn't matter where you're at. Like, you could be in,
100%.
Just a small lake in Minnesota. I mean, there's flooding and storms and things like that. So, I mean, it will apply to everybody and their businesses and what you need to do to prepare. And we're going to, and it's fresh in everyone's mind. And I'm sure operators that we're going to have on the show that are in the Hurricane Ian area, they're going to tell you like, man, we wish we would have done X, Y, Z. And it's always changing too. It's very fluid of like with storms hitting and things change. So it's going to be a great episode, and we'll have that here shortly. So let's jump into, the Water Sport Conference. So the conference was the 25th through 27th. We had around 90 people registered. And then obviously when the Hurricane Ian started tracking towards Orlando, we had to make a decision because, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could have went south, it could have went north, and we had to make a quick. It was coming up, like, so we called up a couple people that are in the event business, and they say, well, have the conference, you have the conference, and have the conference. We already put so much work into it. People had plane tickets, and it was just so. I mean, with hurricanes, it just came out of nowhere, that storm. Like, it was just really crazy. So we ended up having it still. And, overall, it turned out to be a really great event. The first day, we had about 15 to 20% people drop out just because they had to stay for their businesses. And then the next day, I'd say about half the people left because, now the hurricane was, tracking towards Orlando. They shut the airport down. So just to give you kind of an idea where it was, but we did double our numbers from last year. which was really great. I think we would have had more last minute if it wasn't for the storm, folks coming. But the content was nonetheless really strong. Kevin and Steve did a presentation on sales. We had Douglas Quimby give us kind of like a industry traveler, data update. Trish Higgins from Chenmark had a great presentation on transitioning. Roundtables, excellent. So I really do feel like we delivered on the content, and I got a lot of great responses on, things that, some of our attendees took back with them, things that they felt are really going to help their business. And again, at the end of the day, like the content's great, but the real magic is when you talk to other operators and you share each other's stories and you kind of learn new things, because we're all doing slightly different things, even though we're in the same category. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. We can really learn from each other and optimize things. But I think the event went its best as it could be. We had a great facility. The lunches were great. We kind of stepped it up there. And the Rosen always takes good care of us. So had a great time, Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor for the month, the Von Mack Agency. Von Mack is a full-service digital marketing agency with a focus on tour and activity operators. They offer it all: SEO, websites, pay-per-clicks, logos, content writing. If it's online marketing, they got you covered. As we mentioned before, it's uber important to hire an agency that understands our industry. And the Von Mack Agency knows watersports. Trust me.
And they do all the shit that you don't want to do. They do all the shit that you're probably not very good at, and they are. Look, for listeners of the show, America herself is giving a free consult, all right? If nothing else, give her a shout, give her a call, take 30 minutes out of your day. More importantly, take 30 minutes out of her day so she can get you straight on your marketing needs.
That's right. What do you have to lose? Head to vonmackagency.com and go to the Contact Us page to get started. Again, vonmackagency.com. And most importantly, let them know you were sent by the AWG guys. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, man. I think like the magic of like, without tooting our own horns, like while we're both in the same vertical, we're approaching it from two different places. I'm obviously a small, mid-size operator. You are in the marketing, reselling, tech side of things. So I feel like there's like this coalescing of ideas and thoughts that you're bringing from one side, from like an executive or like a C-level with a lot of employees and dealing with things at larger corporations, while I'm boots on the ground dealing with that every day. And so we program the conference and the show. Obviously, if you're a first-time listener and you're just tuning into this, you came to our conference, you heard about us through Arrival, or you've been listening the last 2 years, obviously, then you know what we're basically trying to do, which is bring these two sides of the things. And it's funny because I'll give Arrival like a real hard time, because sometimes I feel like it's like two Gregs, you know what I mean? Like running the thing, like, yeah, man, like, yeah, that's fine and well in marketing and that's fucking awesome. But what do you do at 3:00 in the morning when your phone rings? You know what I mean? For a boat rental. Like, this is the kind of shit that I deal with. And Greg's obviously dealing with 3:00 in the morning when it's like massive website and system shuts down. So like we program the conference with these two sorts of thoughts in mind. And it's like education and operation. And so I think we execute that. I think we executed that. And really you executed it. Greg, you bust your butt on doing this sort of thing, and for not being like in the conference business. You guys in your team just did a fantastic job of pulling it off, and I'm definitely learning when I come there too. Even though I'm like a part of the programming, like I think I always try to approach the conference side of what we do to the show side, which is like, okay, well, what do I want to learn? What I'm at 5 years in business, I do X amount of revenue. What am I trying to learn? So when I put my ideas out there, like you put a poll out, or what a rival poll, or what your key takeaways were, and what was missing. It's like, well, I can tell you that like this is what I'm interested in at this point in my journey. And I even talk to operators that are a little further ahead of me, a little further behind me. And I get a real sense of what the marketplace is really yearning for when they want to know stuff. So we try and put that into all of the products, from the podcast to the conference. And I just want to thank everybody that made it out there. I know it was a tumultuous sort of event and in hindsight, I asked that question from the stage where I was like, what would you do if you lost everything tomorrow? And there's guys that lost everything. And like, not completely done, but, have to sort of like rebuild for sure. And it was hard for me. Like it really was. I saw myself in their shoes so much. And heck, like there was points where I was watching that storm, which was the most piss poorly tracked storm I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was calling from Pensacola all the way down to Tampa. Like no one knew. So I posed that question because it's something that I think about all of the time. Of the time, let alone all the other bullshit you have to deal with from a business standpoint. And when you live in Florida, yeah, you have to like worry about hurricanes. It doesn't matter if you're slanging pizzas or anything, your business could be destroyed. But man, we are the fucking front lines. You know what I mean? When it hits our business, we're the first one to get completely smoked. Dock building is not cheap.
We had a lot of so Peter Sami is one of our keynotes on the second day, and Peter's did a phenomenal presentation, about like your journey, in your business, like what you want to get out of it, and it really made me think about like my time on Earth, like what is my mission, and we had a lot of deep thinking conversations, a lot of good. The second day was really good, and unfortunately a lot of people couldn't stay for that, but I mean, we had some really great content on panels on the second day. But one of the things I really I came out of it. So we had Trish Higgins from Chenmark, and she did a presentation on like transitioning and selling your business. And what was so she did a roundtable, and I kind of poked into it, and she was talking about how a lot of water sport operators have millions in assets, but their business isn't really making any money. And she's like, at that point, you probably just need to consider selling your assets and doing something different, or just reorganizing your business as a whole. Like, some people have these multi-million dollar boats, and they're only making like, $200,000-$300,000 a year. It's kind of crazy to have an asset like that that's not generating a hell of a lot more. So it really made me think about, my business and just other people's businesses, and like, from that point of view. So that was one of my big takeaways. Another thing was, I know people listen to the show and we get hundreds of downloads every show, but it's really interesting when people tell you like that, oh yeah, I listened to all your shows, that's why we came down here, and they know a little bit about your life because we talk about our personal life and our business on the show. It's really funny, to actually talk to people and say, okay, yeah, they are listening, and they know what's going on. So, but for a few people that came, I think, I'm bad with remembering names, but that group from, Wisconsin, I think Dave, he was great. The first night, got on the hot tub and we were just chilling, and, but they got a little operation there in the leg. So it's just getting to know him. He was great. And then the brothers from Minnesota, that came, they're just kind of starting out, but like, there's so much there, it's crazy. So I appreciate everyone that did come, that listened to the show, and first timers. It's kind of crazy to come to these things when you don't know anybody. But now you all have a bunch of new friends. So
yeah, and that's the neat thing about the conference is you don't have to know anybody, man. Like you go to I went to Arrival my first year, and luckily I found a couple people I knew from QS, and I just like attached onto them, and we hung out, and I didn't really network because I didn't know anybody. With our conference, it's so close to home. It's like 6 degrees of separation. Somehow you're gonna end up knowing somebody, and if you don't, like you're gonna be pulled in pretty quick.
And you have a lot in common. If you're listening to the show, then a lot of the people we interviewed on the show are going to be at the conference. So I did notice that a lot of people were having conversations because, oh yeah, I listened, like Kai, Kai's episode is pretty popular, and I've saw Kai having conversations, with people that hurt him. So like, that's the great thing, is that we try to bring people in the community on the show, to share their story and open up. And like, when we were in Vegas just recently, Chris Woodruff, he's on the show a couple of times. I saw him having a conversation with Ava Ramos. She was on the show. They never met in person, but I saw them having a conversation. So it's like, really is about bringing people together in industry, sharing information. But I really think it was great. We look forward to having the conference again next year. So
you know what? It's like something to just aside. Like, I ran into an operator from Colorado, maybe Pete, and he was like, listened to all the shows and like loved it, and he's like a whitewater rafting guy, and I kind of thought about it. I was like, man, we have some really sporting water sports under our umbrella because it's not in Florida. Like, rent a boat, it's a water sport. Whitewater rafting, not a water sport. Sport fishing, not a water sport. Like, why? This makes no fucking sense, man. It's way more sporting than getting a pontoon boat, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we need to start umbrelling these people into the fold, into our industry, because I can't imagine the litigation that whitewater rafting has to go to. Like, how much shit do they have to sign? Insurance, like the competition. Like, I feel like I want to have the guy on the show just because I'm like, I feel like we've been missing like a huge segment. I'd
learn more about it.
And we didn't even talk with Pete, and Pete's like the Scottish authority on whitewater rafting. I don't even think we really got into it because because I need an interpreter to understand what the fuck he's saying, man. Like, I that's my problem at these goddamn conferences, dude. I'm like, I don't know what anyone's saying. Like, everyone's like, oh, did you go to this at Arrival? I'm like, no, dude, I can't hear what they're fucking saying. Like, we need some like something for the hearing impaired, man. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Where's my inclusion, dude? I need some I have to watch all the movies with the subtitles on. But it's like, I went into the one thing, I sat in the back, I couldn't understand anything anyone was saying. And like, if I wasn't at the Watersport conference, I had to go sit up front. But like, thank God Pete had he had like a lot of bullet points during his presentation, so I could understand, because it's like watching like the grandfather from Austin Powers or So I Married an Axe Murderer. That fucking thing is thick, man. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything you took away from the Watersport conference?
Like fucking COVID or whatever.
COVID, yeah.
Fucking whatever was floating around the hot tub. That, like, I swear to God, we should just be the hot tub water sports guys.
Two people got strapped. I know. Two of my employees got strapped from.
Yeah, no, man. I don't. I kind of spend a lot of my time just like bopping around the room, talking to people. It's funny. I ran into Christian Watts at Arrival, and he's like, "Man, I don't feel like I've seen you." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I've been kind of like hiding out or whatever." But yeah, man, it's the Watersport forum, like, again, it's just like more of like reinforcing community. I really like what Pete was talking about, because in a broader business context, that's like what I'm really interested in right now is, it's like diversification, making sure you have proper planning, really starting to do things how larger operators do things. Sitting down and talking with Kai. Kai and Pete, I feel like, are they do a good job at bridging the gap, like, between you and I, where they're scaling from a business standpoint. They're having these sort of like deeper business conversations or like, especially Pete talking about like planning for the future. Like, just talking about business in a broader context. Again, if you guys like want to kind of know where my head's at with this, you can go into our Facebook group, which is, say it again, I always forget
Watersport and Tour Entrepreneurs or something like that.
Dude, you like do everything with a mouthful, man. We're gonna have to do some fucking rebranding here, bro. I need like 2 syllables. Like, that's all I got. But go into the group, look at Greg's, and go look down at my comment, because these are the conversations that I want to have. I want to talk about debt leverage. I want to talk about asset protection. I want to talk about tax strategies. I want to have these larger. It's like, I'm speaking with Kai the other day from Tour Scale, and he's like throws these like, oh, he's like, yeah, you're like, we're going to a market for a roll up. I'm like, yeah, fruit roll up. Yeah, I love those too, man. They're delicious. Fucking Googling what he's saying as he's saying it, because I think most of us are small business operators. And then, like, I think there was a little bit of kinship between you and I because I could speak that marketing language. So now I'm, like, more interested in how to have a more of to be able to speak a business language, to kind of like understand what all this stuff means, balance sheets, profit and loss, like rather than just having numbers on a paper. I mean, a lot of guys are just doing their doing their profit and loss via their bank statements. Okay, so it's great that I make data-driven decisions on my marketing and my sales side, but am I making data-driven solutions from the finance side, which is probably infinitely more important?
Does it make you feel like you're running out of time when you heard of Pete's, when he told you like how many months you kind of have to live?
Dude, I'm not trying to fucking listen to that, bro.
Did you hear when he talked about that? So Pete in his presentation, he basically averaged out how many months he has left to live. And it was like very sobering.
Depressing. Sobering. Come to the Watersports conference and kill yourself. I've got 3 more seconds if I got to listen to
It's
Pete
like,
oh shit,
I got how many months? He just brought out how many months I have to live. And I'm like, and I did the math. I'm like, okay, that's not very many. But
on the fucking positive side, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I was sitting in my office 7 months ago thinking I had all the months to fucking live. And next thing you know, I'm like laying on the floor, like, fucking having a goddamn heart attack, bro. So trust me, man. Like, every day I wake up, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, how many days I got left.
Yeah.
So, man. It is sobering.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, like, the connections I made personally at the forum were great. We had a lot of new faces this time, which was really cool. And I just a lot of great relationships. In fact, the airport got closed, and I was going to go to Seattle for an NFT crypto conference, and they closed the airport, so I had to drive to Atlanta. Well, Abigail, who's with I think Headwinds Kayaks, he's based out of Lodi, California. Well, her flight got canceled too, so we just rented a car and we all drove together. And I just met Abigail, at the conference, and so. Alex,
you drove to Seattle?
No, we drove to Atlanta. I'm sorry.
Atlanta. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I drove to Atlanta to get a flight. What? So we did this drive and we stopped. We had lunch. We went to thrift shops. We went axe throwing. We did all this stuff and we had dinner. It was really fun. So, and really got to know her, very well and get to know her business and what she wants to do. Her future plans. It was really, really cool. To get to know her and get to know, people that listen to her show and are in our industry.
Listen, you got to get your partner under control with all this I want to wrestle you bullshit, man. Because I'll tell you what, I fucking from the street, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I bring my gun everywhere, but definitely in the state of Florida. Like, I've got my gun with me. And, like, when I know someone can beat me up, like, I get it. Alex can fucking put me in an armbar or a choke lock, whatever. Like, I had to check him, bro. I'm like, listen, I'll fucking shoot you, dude. I don't care, man. Like, we're in the stand your ground state, Alex. I hope you're listening right now. Not for nothing, but Ben Merrill, who's my business partner and friend, he's a great fucking jiu-jitsu guy too. He's really good at rolling. And both of you guys, like, fucking, I'm shout out, like, to Bully, because both of you fucking guys are, like, trying to wrestle me, and I'm putting them together. I'm like, you guys wrestle each other. You're a jiu-jitsu guy, you're a jiu-jitsu guy. You guys fight each other. Stop trying to fucking wrestle me. Neither one of them fucking did it, right? No, they wanted to wrestle the guy who's got some boxing skills, a little bit of rolling experience, but, like, because I got a big mouth, they want to fucking shut me up.
So just to take it back,
bullies, bro.
My business partner, Alex, he's very he's very athletic. He's into jiu-jitsu, really into jiu-jitsu, into rock climbing, I'm just not that. I mean, I'm starting to get back to the gym a little bit, but I'm nowhere on his level. But he loves to invite people out and do things. When we were in Vegas, he wanted to go rock climbing.
Invite them out to choke them? What's his problem?
He wanted to go rock climbing, and a lot of people actually went rock climbing with him. But I'm like, listen, I've come. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure everybody backed out, dude.
No,
you're not in the group chat.
No, but I'd say about 10 people went.
Oh, okay. So you had like a 30-person, like everybody was back.
I know everybody. Well, the thing is, like, I'm in Vegas. I am not going to do anything athletic. I'm going to drink. I'm going to gamble. I'm going to eat. and walk around.
I went to the gym, man, but I wasn't trying to. I just feel like, man, I would have felt like a tug at my leg. He'd have been pulling me down, like every time, man. I felt like he was trying to wrestle me, man. So
yeah, but
I didn't have my gun in Vegas though. So
anyways, so we we had a great time. I got to meet, and Abigail ended up coming to Arrival too, so we got to see her again. But anyways,
so this is the kind of like right. So this is the kind of like off the cuff, like crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just you're not gonna really. I don't know, man. Like it's really like a conference from an insider's perspective. That's always the really neat thing about the Watersport Conference is like you get just to be in the band, dude. You know what I mean? Like fucking, not that Greg and I are any kind of like really great influencers, but it's not like you're a stranger. You know, it's like, hey, I love the fucking show. Like blah 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 blah. All right, cool, man. Come out to dinner with us. Hey, come be on the show. Like we're building this thing out like for the last few years from the ground up. So that's the sort of neat stuff. Like Abigail was her first time to anything sort of thing like this, and boom, she's in the car with Greg and Alex. She's probably getting challenged to jiu-jitsu matches. Alex like, hey, come on, like let's wrestle.
She came from all the way across the country to come, to this conference, just out, kind of out of the blue. So, yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. Like we're trying to bring as many people in our industry, our small little vertical, bring them all together and have real conversations. And this podcast and our Facebook community are all just, pawns to bring it all in. And that's what we did. And I felt like it was very successful. And we're going to talk about Arrival here.
You guys are all our pawns. What kind of word is that?
I don't know. No, I'm not talking about the people are pawns. I'm talking about our podcast. I'm not going to call people pawns, but yeah, I mean, that's...
Greg, we got 17 listeners and 80 people showed up to the fucking goddamn... Greg's like fucking taking over the world. You're a fucking pawns. Oh fuck, man. Yeah, and this is the kind of, you can have this real world type of awkward conversation with Greg in a fucking hot tub.
Oh,
that's the real value.
The real magic is in the hot tub, that's for sure.
No. I mean, dude, every time that one at the Rosen, I just watched the waterfall just splashing off people and then splashing all over everybody else, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to stay out of that hot tub. I'll sit on the side and have a conversation, but...
You were in the hot tub the first day.
I'm sweating.
You jumped
alone. And when everybody started getting in, I got out. I'm like weird, bro. I'm not like a big fan of being like smushed together with people. I don't like like, dude, we went on a company trip, and another stupid aside story, and me and my wife are sitting in a roller coaster thing, and it's like a 4-seat one. And we're in like Tennessee, Dollywood. Mm-hmm. And me and my wife are sitting in one. And then there's fucking 2 more seats. And they bring this guy and sit him right next to me, like right on top of me, his arm fucking touching my arm, which I don't like already. Mm-hmm. And he's making these weird noises, like we're hitting like the fucking loop-de-loop or whatever. And everyone else is like, ah! This guy's going, oh... Oh, and he's like next to me, dude. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, fucking really, man? Like, really? Like, you couldn't have sat 1 seat over making those fucking noises? Your arm's got to touch my arm? Yeah, so like when that whole fucking boiling water, fucking festering, whatever, like, no, I don't like it even a little bit, dude. I'm getting out of that hot tub. Yeah, I got in, and then once there was like more than 5 people in there, I got out, man. Yeah, I'm not a big, like, I'm a hugger. I love hugging people. Like, hey, I love you. You know what I mean? But sometimes, like, when my bubble gets made, not a big fan of people being in it. Yeah. Greg's with it, though. Greg's like, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
He wants
to
have,
like, all in.
A mosh pit in that fucking hot tub. Greg's with
let's do it. I like it. This is fun. I mean, everyone's just letting loose. When everyone gets in the hot tub, they're just letting loose.
Steve's like, I've never met anyone that fucking loves a hot tub more than this guy. I'm like, me either, dude. He really loves that hot. So I've got like a theory on it, and my theory is that like, like you're sort of like spent a lot of time in the office like the last 10 years, just you and a computer. Like I feel like in college, like you weren't in like a fraternity or anything like that. Yeah, so I sort of feel like this is like the college experience you were looking for. And in your mind, there was a lot of hot tub action happening at those fraternities. And you're like, yeah, look at this is what it was like.
No, but the thing is, the hot tub just brings out the best of everybody. Everyone's just ready to they're just letting loose. They're having fun. You can have like great conversations with people. I'm not talking from like a sexual side of things.
No,
I'm just saying. I'm just talking. That, man. I don't know what's going on in your head because then you're laughing.
Not anything.
But it's like everyone has a good time. Everyone has a good time.
Like have you ever? Maybe when the hot tub first was like fucking brought into popular culture. Like,
have you ever been in a hot tub and someone's like really mad?
I mean, no, but I mean, there's lots of situations.
They're always having a good time. When you're drinking, you know, people can get weird, but when you're in the hot tub, everything is just, everyone's having a good time.
Because that's not weird.
Yeah. Everyone always in their open. That's why I always felt like.
Well, yeah, man, like you're fucking half naked, to be fair, you know what I mean? You're like already got to have to let your fucking, you know what I mean, defenses down a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
you're
it's right up in someone.
It's like the icebreaker, and you're forced to conversate.
No,
I
don't drink.
Yeah.
No, it's like everyone's like fucking up in your goddamn face, like water dripping off them, their arm touching my arm, they're all boozy breath in my face, like fucking, hey man, let me tell you something. Nope, not at all. Yeah. I need at least 10 feet of distance from you right now, my man.
So let's cut it off here, and next week episode we are going to do the arrival
hot tub dedication.
Yeah, hot tub dedication. We'll have to do a whole episode on why I like the hot tub. And then the second part will start next week, and we'll talk about our arrival. And yeah, so keep it awkward. Keep it awkward.
That was just the most awkward ending all time. Get in the hot tub.